why I do what I do and where I draw my inspiration from is, simply the smile that I see on people's faces when they win. I think my mom looked at all of us and felt, I'm like the middle kid. Like, okay, she's like right in the middle. She's not doing so much. She's young. The older ones can help take care of the younger ones. So this one is good for you to take. You can do a lot if you can set fear aside. Every woman, every girl out there,
Yes.
is endowed innately with power. Systems and the world try to change that.
That's right.
But I think when we now speak women empowerment, what we're doing is not saying, there is power, we need to get power and give to women. That's not women empowerment. No. Women empowerment is helping women realize the audacity they already have in them. And
It's time to unlock your full potential. Every person has a remarkable story. Join me, Dr. Sura Hadad, on a journey of empowerment and inspiration as we delve into the depths of self-discovery and transformation. Welcome back to On Top today. We're joined by someone whose energy and passion for empowering women are simply contagious. Ifeoma Esonwune. She's the force behind the Star Women's Empowerment Initiative, Inc., and the voice of the powerful podcast, Power Your Truth. As an award-winning coach, author of Empower Your Journey, and a sought-after speaker, Ifeoma has made it her mission to help women overcome self-doubt and unlock their potential. Get ready to be inspired as we dive into her journey, her vision, and the wisdom she's here to share. Welcome, Ifeoma, to On Top podcast, and welcome to my humble home.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Hadad. It's so nice to be here. Appreciate it.
Now, Ifeoma, you have so much energy, okay? And it is contagious. I am like I feel it when I'm sitting right here. Even with the red that you're wearing, it's awesome. What inspires you?
Great question. Is it okay if I go by Sura?
Go for
and
it.
leave all the formal?
Yes.
I still what inspires me? That's a good question.
Yes, and it's a hard one.
It's a hard one.
Yes.
One that I a lot of things do inspire me.
Okay.
I think the most important, I can talk about family, children and all that, but I think that why I do what I do and where I draw my inspiration from is, simply the smile that I see on people's faces when they win, when you help people win.
Yeah.
As a coach, as a counselor, as somebody who works in the helping industry,
Yes.
in terms of helping people be better, do better, I think that every smile that I get, I think that every I can do it, that comes back to me is the reason why I do what I do.
Yeah.
Because I want to see, people happy on their journey. I want to see people tapping into their innate ability to be able to become who they are really created to be. And that's where I draw my inspiration from, knowing that I can help the next person be better.
Yes.
I can help the next woman
Yeah.
do more.
Yes.
Is why it wakes me up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to when you were young. So you were in school and you grew up in a family and your origin is from Nigeria, right?
Yes.
So let's start in that house there. How did you feel in that house? What kind of gave you the inspiration again there?
You know what, Sura? My childhood story hasn't been told. So I'm going to say a few things here that might really even surprise some people that really know me.
Yeah.
Because I don't so very much talk about my childhood.
Okay.
But the truth of the matter is that I actually had it hard, as a kid growing up. I grew up in a family
Yes.
that wasn't actually mine. And it's sometimes it's hard to talk about.
I know.
But I think that who I am today really was made because of, that hardship of growing up.
Okay.
Right. So what happened, I was about 7,
Yes.
6 or 7 years old when I went to live with my aunt. So it was the same city. My parents lived in the same city.
Yes.
With my other siblings. But things were really hard.
Okay.
And to pay school fees and all that was really hard for my parents at the time. And my position in the family as the second daughter, and by culture and everything, my older sister she's older. I had about 2 siblings that are older than me.
Yeah.
And then I was the third. And then I had 2 or 3 other younger ones. So
Okay.
when my auntie wanted to help the family out, and the way to help the family out was, I'm going to take one of your kids and put them in school.
Yeah.
I think my mom looked at all of us and felt, I'm like the middle kid. Like, okay, she's like right in the middle. She's not doing so much. She's young. The older ones can help take care of the younger ones. So this one is good for you to take. So something like that.
Okay.
So I was moved away from my family at 6, maybe going to 7.
Yes.
And that was hard. I didn't understand it then. I think I was happy, I was going to go live with, this auntie in a more affluent neighborhood, be this. But, life is what it is. Sometimes it's not what we expect,
Yes.
That we get. But yeah, I think that being away from the people who loved me the most,
Yes.
not growing up with my actual parents, and having to go through a lot of things that I'm not ready to talk about right now as a child, that I wouldn't really wish any other kid would go through. I wasn't sexually abused. That's not where I'm going with that.
Good.
No, but yeah, there's a whole lot of maltreatment that happened. And I think I just grew up knowing that I don't want any other person to, I became this protective.
Yeah.
And I just learned to love without reserve, to be there for people, to care for people so much, like I was, never cared for. So I think those are, the things.
Was she your aunt, like your father's sister or your mother's sister?
Yeah, from my mother's side.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you get to see your family?
Oh yeah, my mom would visit, and that was where I grew up and had most of my teenage years without my family. I was pretty much an adult by the time I walked away from that home. But I think that it taught me a lot about life. The love that I didn't have, I learned, to give, because I know how it felt.
Yeah.
When I see somebody without love, I know exactly what, I could relate. So I think I made it my own mission to make sure that everybody who comes across me, feels
You're
that
making me
love.
emotional now.
Yeah. So it's, I think a lot of who I've become and who I am and the things that I do really is stem out of my experience as a person. And sometimes I can be overprotective, in not letting people, So yes, I know it's not the whole story, but
I know, but
I think that's the much that I want to say.
Yes.
Now.
Yeah. So then you went back to your family, and then you left that house. So what did you do when you were as an adult, when you went back?
I didn't quite. I was 16 at the time.
Okay.
And that was me kind of graduating from what we know now as high school. We call secondary school back home. And it wasn't necessarily leaving there to move back to my home.
Okay.
It was like moving to go to college to go to
Okay.
university.
Okay.
And yeah, I've always been very brilliant. Well, I think I can pride myself as
Oh,
that.
yeah, you can and do it, man. You deserve it.
So I've always loved going to school,
Yeah.
being educated. I never failed any exam before. And yeah, so I had that ambition and I wanted to go to higher education. I wanted to study. I wanted to become a lawyer. And, part of that experience was like, I know you can do it, growing up and having somebody who should be, a guardian, be somebody who looked after you, look at you every day and tell you, you can have those dreams, but you cannot be those dreams. So I think that ignited the fire in me. I realized early on in life that the only way to win is to become successful. So I set my mind on really being successful, no matter what it took. I was going to make it. So I can tell you now, take it home. Like seriously, I wrote exams and went to university without a dime. Like I couldn't pay school fees. I was roaming the school and I'm like, I want in. I'd passed the exams. I want in, but I do not have the funds to pay school fees. But anyways, like I said, it's a long story.
So what happened with the school fees?
Yeah, it happened the way it happened. Help happened from, kind of where you didn't expect it to come from. I remember one time, had already enrolled because the way school is in my country is going to college is not here. So to go to university, you have to do what we call the West African School Living Certificate exams.
Okay.
And then when you pass that, you have to write what they call the JAMB. That is the Joint Admissions. What is JAMB again? Joint Admissions Matriculation Board exam. So it's not like here where you just from high school transfer your credit to no, you have to pass these board exams.
Yeah.
So I did those board exams. I passed them. So when you pass them, and when you're writing the board exams, you have to put the schools that you want to, the universities that you want to go to. So I did apply to universities and I got in, right?
Yes.
So you already got admission.
Yes.
But before you go to school, you got to pay your fees.
Yes, that's right.
So that was easier to do. I could write the exams, register for them, write the exams, pass them. But then there comes that part of, you have to pay your school fees. So at a very young age, and 16 going to turn 17, I already started learning how to take care of myself.
Yes, exactly.
And in the right way. So I used every resource I have, and I'm really privileged to be endowed with a lot of that. And I think it still follows me till today. Like I don't think I've walked into a room and pitched a project and get turned down, like, oh no, that doesn't make sense. So when I walk to an uncle and go like, I'm going to do this for you, do that for you, I'm going to stay here, help you take care of your kids while you go to work, but in return you're going to help me pay my school fees. So I started, so I did that a lot. So I was in homes and different homes. I was vacationing every holiday in different uncle or auntie or this relative home so that I could,
That's
get
very
some
smart.
funds.
How did you think about that?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Smart.
So like I said, it's a lot of stories that I haven't told, and I'm going to tell in due time.
I feel very privileged to know those stories.
Thank you. You got me. It's not really what is gotten out of me so easily, but I think what you're doing here is really great. I love it. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, I know you told us about how you grew up there and everything. Now, how did you come to immigrate to Canada?
I had already married and had children before I came to Canada. So that's a totally different story. And I was still in the university when I met my husband. Okay. Right. So I think that even though I had gone through all that, life itself has been really graceful.
Yes.
God has been, the universe has really favored me. I met my husband, who is very educated himself, had educated parents, and grew up with his parents. So he had a different story from me. But I think that what we shared is greater than whatever I've been through or we've been through together. So we worked together as in how we wanted our future to be.
Yes.
You know, so I think from meeting him and moving on and eventually marrying him and having children, my life was kind of transformed. It was, you know, we planned everything together. We worked together. I had big dreams. I've always had big dreams. So when that question of why did we move abroad or even moved, I would say it's me. My husband wasn't thinking that. It wasn't his ambition.
You're the adventurous person.
I'm the one who always wanted to do big things. And really, even while I lived with my auntie and growing up and wanting to go to school, become a lawyer, become whatever dreams that I wanted to become, I'd always had that dream that I wanted to be known, be famous, impact, like make an impact in this world. I knew I wanted to do that. What I didn't know was how.
Yes.
That was going to happen, right? But I was very sure that I can do something. I have the capability. I have the intelligence. I have the vision and the passion.
You have the energy.
Okay, I have the energy to it, right? But I didn't know the how.
Yeah.
So I think that part of what marriage did to me was help me discover that how.
Yes.
Because then I married a man who saw that in me.
Yes.
And was very supportive.
Yes.
And he is still very supportive of everything that I am. And like he knew he couldn't match my energy. And he was like, I leave you there, do your thing.
That's awesome.
But I'm just going to be here cheering you on. But I'm not going to try to match that energy. I'm not going to try to match that ambition. You know, sometimes he goes like, can you finish one before you start another?
Oh my, the project that you do.
Yeah, so that is it. So coming here has been part of my own childhood ambitions and all that. But I think it all happened, you know, when my husband and I started planning it together, and it was like, how do we get this done? And, you know, put all that ambition together. Long story short, is that to raise our kids and all that, we decided on Canada.
Okay.
And we worked through it. It was a seamless, very easy kind of PR a process.
Yes.
We actually migrated through the express entry process, where from the home country you apply and you get your PR before you leave your home country. Yeah. So and we came to Canada in 2016. My kids were little, now they are big.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, we came here and
you came to Halifax, right? To Halifax.
Yes, we came to Halifax. And it's funny because
Halifax is small for your energy. What did you do? Like,
well, I think when we first came to Halifax, to not just me, but I think my kids and my husband really felt it's one of the smallest places we've lived.
Yes.
The truth is we lived in Lagos, Nigeria, and Lagos, Nigeria has a population of over 40 million. And the whole of Canada is not even 40 million.
No.
So you can imagine.
Yes.
And that's like Lagos. And then I did live in Houston, Texas, which is, I think Houston is the third largest city in the U.S. So I'm used to like living in metropolitan big cities. And then we have to come to Canada. We didn't know Canada well.
Yeah.
We didn't have family.
Yeah.
No friend per se, not me, not my husband. But we took that bold leap.
Yeah.
You know, of coming to Canada. We loved everything we read and researched about Canada was, you know, the calmness, the welcoming, and everything we experienced.
And all that
So we wanted to make this place home.
Yeah.
And we didn't know where to go in terms of choice, whether it was going to be Ontario or we'd actually never had Nova Scotia until I had to come to Nova Scotia. Yeah. So it wasn't a choice like, okay, we're going to go to Halifax because of this.
Okay.
But what happened was while we were through the express entry process, I think Nova Scotia was... what is it called? No, the provincial nomination was happening, and my husband was the principal applicant for the family, and Nova Scotia picked him.
Yes.
So it was like we didn't pick Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia picked us, something like that. Yeah. Because I remember him saying, there's this place, Nova Scotia. I couldn't say it very well then.
Yeah.
I was like, well, what is Nova Scotia, right? And we're like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, accept it. He's still in Canada, right? So yeah, we go, we see what it's like.
Yes.
And then we kind of clicked accept, and the process went on. And when you're going to a province or a state, whatever, in this case, Canada is a province, you want to stay at the capital.
Yes, that's right.
And that's how Halifax happened. So we knew that, okay, we couldn't go to Truro or whatever. We know that, okay, where's the main city in the province, right?
Yes.
It was Halifax. And okay, we're heading to Halifax.
Okay.
And that is how we came here. And then I've loved it, really ever since.
I know when you came here, but like you had no friends, no family, no community. How did you release your energy? Like I know you like inspiring many people.
Great question there. Great question, Sura. And I love that you brought that up, because truly there was nobody that I knew.
Yeah. And it's hard. I know it's hard.
Yeah. There was no family here before me, immediate family or even distant family.
Yes.
But and I remember that when we first got here, my husband was like, okay, no, we're not staying. He was like, we're not doing this. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, maybe it's not going to happen. But as he was thinking, like, okay, maybe we're not going to do this. You guys are going to move back to Houston. My family is there. It's better for you guys. I know somebody would be, And I'm thinking in my head, like, okay, if there's nothing happening here, maybe I could start something here. And I remember my exact phrase for him. I said to him, this is a virgin land and I'm going to cultivate it. That was the exact thing I said to my husband, really. So, and he was like, what? I said, no, I think it's a virgin land and I want to cultivate it.
Yes.
So whatever that means, I'm out. And he was actually out for a year.
Oh, my. Yeah. He left you guys for a year here.
Yeah, but that's because he has his job. He had to go back. So he was taking care of us.
Yeah.
Which I think was really key to my, really doing everything that I did, because there was somebody who was taking care of the bills, doing everything.
Yeah.
And I really focused on, growing myself and the career, So, yeah, it was me and 3 kids.
Yes.
Kids, very young kids. And I still did it. I'm not sure how, but I did it.
You have a community here. And the thing is that you're, I know it's multiculturalism, but with being a woman.
Yeah.
And a woman of color and a woman of a different background, it's hard to kind of do what you want to do.
I tell you something, Sura.
Yes.
And that's what I say to every woman.
Yeah.
Be not afraid.
Yeah.
You can do a lot if you can set fear aside.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that even when I'm afraid, I do it.
Yes.
So when I got in here, like I said, it, no family, nobody.
Yes.
I knew that I had to build a community. I had to belong somewhere.
Yes.
So finding community is really, really key.
Yes.
To making it wherever you are.
Yeah.
But the thing for me was that community I didn't find one.
Yes.
What do you do when you don't have something? You build it.
Exactly. There you go.
So I built a community.
Yeah,
That's what I did.
You did. And that was a very challenging thing to do. And I know people really love you here. And
Thank you.
You inspire many people and many young women too. So now I know you built it here and you started. Why did you choose, I know you do many things. Why did you choose to be an entrepreneur, not an employee?
Good question. Again, let's go back a little bit to 2016. That was when I immigrated to Nova Scotia.
Yes.
And I can tell you, things have really changed now.
Yes.
Back in 2016, to get a job, it doesn't matter how professional you are, and as an immigrant, it was hard.
Oh, yes. Tell me about
I
it.
remembered putting applications, and in fact, once I snapped at, I don't know, maybe an HR person or whoever that was on the phone with me, who was asking me about Canadian experience. And I was like, I just got here.
Exactly.
Did you read my resume that I just arrived?
Yeah.
Why are you asking me for something that that I don't have?
Yeah.
How do you want me to get it? Employ me and I'll get Canadian experience.
Exactly. Yes.
So it was hard.
Yes.
And I'm not one to dwell on how hard it is, things are. And when I tried, put in applications, due dates, those who would get back to me would ask for Canadian experience.
Yeah.
And that I didn't have.
Yes, that's right.
So I felt like it was a system to kind of disqualify people like me before we even get started. It wasn't because I wasn't qualified for the jobs that I was applying for, but if you wanted me to do the job only having Canadian experience,
That's right.
how does somebody who is a new immigrant to Canada have
That's
a Canadian experience without working in Canada?
Yeah.
And honestly, now these days when I think about it, I'm like, what happened? Like, what was ongoing? I think it was systemic, but that's talk for another day anyways. But that was the experience that I had, and that was what pushed me.
Yes.
So everything that I have done in terms of the things that I've built, businesses that I have started and all that, was really to set myself up, as the system wasn't really going to do that for me. So I thought about, if you won't give me the job, then I create a job for myself.
Well, that's
awesome. How I got into entrepreneurship.
Yes.
You ain't going to employ me, and I know I've got it. I have the skills. Okay, you're not going to give me the job. I create the job for myself.
There you go.
And that's what I did.
Awesome. Now, I know it's hard and everything, and I know you have kids. How do you inspire your kids? How do you talk to them? How do you make them do what you had to do, face challenges?
Do we really? Do we make them do?
Well, you know what? Like, give them advice, as we say, Yeah.
I think for me, I started early on with my children when they were much younger than they are right now. I'd always kind of had that little chitty chat, midnight kind of chat that, I would have with them. So I think they grew up knowing that there are times mommy would wake us up and we would talk. And I'm an African mom, right? And sometimes it's all yelling and, but even after all the yelling and whatever that I do sometimes, and I can't help myself, I always have that time when we sit down as, a family, and we can talk about our pains and, whatever else. And I've done that a lot with my kids, starting from when they were young. Okay. Sometimes it's listening to them, knowing what their dreams and ambitions are, and not really controlling what that would be, but giving them advice, guidance, and all that's required to help them continue to grow. I think some of my inspiration too, I draw from them, because sometimes you hear from these children and you go like, oh my God, I didn't even know I was doing that. And my kids are not afraid, because I've raised them not to be afraid, even to talk to me. So I've raised them to stand their ground, say what you mean and mean what you say. When you give your word, I've really tried, by God's grace, to raise my kids with integrity. It's something that I really value, and I've tried to instill that in them, that if any of my child says to you, I'm coming, they better be coming.
That's right.
Right. So don't give your word if you can't keep it. And I think that has continued to guide them. And I'm so happy as they're turning out, becoming adults and really becoming very dependable adults. But I think it's all that's, having those family conversations, having those kind of family dinners together, talking to each other. It doesn't matter how angry we get, but always finding that time where we can iron things out. And I think that's helped me and them bond, and the closeness that we still share.
That's amazing. I know one of your daughters wrote a book.
Yes, she did when she was 9.
Like 9 years old.
Yes, she published that at 10. She's been very creative since she was little. I'm blessed with very brilliant kids, I must say. But she's the youngest anyways, and she's just simply amazing. She's awesome.
Yeah.
And she would just sit, and within 2-3 hours she would come up with a story, and she would write it so well, very descriptive. And she kept doing that. And sometimes she would just go like, "Mommy, say I wrote this story," and I'll read it. And sometimes I'll look at her like, at 7, at 8, she could write incredible stories.
Nice.
And I remember when she was 7 in grade 2, her teacher once said to me, and I never forgotten that phrase, said that, "You know what? Kids in my class are actually learning to read, but your daughter is reading to learn." I'm like, what does that even mean? It took me a while, and like, no, she's not learning to read what her age mates. She reads it. She's reading to understand, to learn more about things. So I'm not teaching her to read. That's what I'm doing with other kids. But she's gone with, sometimes when I talk to her, I remember one of our other teachers said to me, sometimes when I talk to Paula, I forget she's 7. And I'm like, okay. So she's always had this huge imagination. She's always had this. And she really speaks up. Like, even me, sometimes I go like, did you say that? And where did you get that idea from? Like, who asked you to say that? It will come off. You'll be like, did that come from this kid? So she's always been like that. And she's so... I think one time I was at home one day with a friend of mine, and she ran downstairs and she's like, "Mommy, I wrote the story at school." And then I took it. Jeez, I read it. And then my friend read it. And we were like, "You wrote it at school?" And it was so beautiful, so descriptive. Like, you wrote it at school? So I was like, and that was then I said, "You know what? It's time we publish one of the stories." I said, "Do you want to do a book?" She's like, "No, I just want to write my stories." I'm like, she doesn't understand.
Yeah, she doesn't know.
I took it upon myself as her mom to say, okay, you know what, we could put one of your stories in a book. And she, you know what she said to me? Okay, not any of these ones that I have written. I'm going to write a new one.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay. And she took her time. She said, when I'm ready, I'm going to let you know.
Okay.
And it was a story they started in class where they were, I think it was English class. And when she talked about it, because she was interviewed, she said, yeah, it was. And then when her teacher at the time, grade 4, before she went to grade 5, said she asked them to maybe write something in class, do a story. And she started out, and to her, she felt, wow, she wrote a good story. The teacher marked her. She scored really well. But she came home and continued the story.
Nice.
Continued to develop it and continued to develop it. And then before you knew it, she had a book.
Wow.
She had about 12 chapters of that story, expanded the story, and it was really, really interesting. And then she brought it to me, and I'm like, you're going to the publishers. Nice. So I called a few publishers, and I got a Canadian publisher in Vancouver. Yes. And they read the story, and they're like, who read this? No, she's 9. We're publishing her. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And they were on phone with her. Anytime they would have conversations with her about the story, I would be there because she's 9. Yes, she's in minor, so I would be there. And every time I laughed my heart out, because then they were all adults, and the project manager and everything. They're going to be like, you know what, Paula, this line. And she's like, no, you're not going to change it. I did it because. Like, okay. Okay, she's got a mind of her. So when they said, at some point they were going to edit. Yes. And then their professional editor did the edits. They brought the edits to us, and Paula canceled half of their edits. I said, no, you can't take that out. I said it that way because, and when she explained it, like, you know what? Don't bother. She's good. She's good. Amazing. I'm telling you.
Amazing. What's the name of the book?
Dark Out. Yeah, and even the title, I'm like, okay, how did you just Dark Out?
And it's on Amazon.
It's on everywhere. Yes, everywhere. It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble. It's at Chapters.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Yes. Now, I know you empower, you did yourself too. You did many things. So I want you to talk about what you have done.
Wow, Sura, stop it.
I know we need probably 10 episodes to get to what you have done. But, and kind of, like talk about the major accomplishments.
I think that in terms of major accomplishments,
Yeah.
you put me on the spot. That's
I know,
so
because
hard.
you're like an author, you're a coach, you're a mentor, you're many things. You wear many hats, you're a mother,
know.
everything.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
It's all been possible by the grace of God, I'll say, and having a supportive family.
Yes.
As well, and have children who are level-headed. So part of what I don't do is having to change children around to like, where are you? So I'm really blessed.
Yes.
In that regard. Excuse me. So part of which one do I talk about? I'm kind of confused.
I don't know.
But I think one of the things, and everything that I do is actually connected. You said it yourself. I'm a coach. I'm a certified coach. I'm a counselor. I'm a mentor. Yes. I'm an international speaker. Yes, I'm an author. I run. I'm a founder and CEO of the Star Women's Network.
Yes.
Yes. And those are so many. Maybe so many hats or maybe so many feathers on a hat that I wear, but I don't actually see it that way. I think that everything that I do is connected. Yeah. They are all interconnected, whether I'm as a coach, whether as a counselor, as a mentor. It's all been, my experiences, my knowledge, my academic background, everything that I've learned that just coming out of me in different forms. Yeah. So whether it's coming out of me when I'm coaching or counseling or mentoring or even leading an organization, it's all part of the same training. But the thing is, I'm a very ambitious person and I get bored easily. So when I start doing something, it feels like, oh no, I'm getting bored with it. I want to do something else. Yes. So I'm always like that. And I'm not sure how I get the energy, but I don't get tired easily, So I guess it's all some natural endowments. Yes. I'll attribute it to the universe. God has really blessed me with that kind of energy to be able to do that, and the kind of brilliance. But I think one of the things that really stand out for me is the work that I do with women.
Okay.
And it was intentional making that niche for women and girls. And I had talked earlier about growing up and, being a girl and having a tough childhood.
Yes, that's right.
And I know that as an adult, one of the things I promised myself was that I was going to make sure that every girl who had ambition, like I did, and I passed through them, if the least I do is to really help them fulfill that ambition. Yeah. I don't know if you caught it, but earlier on when I was telling you about it, I said I wanted to be a lawyer.
Yes.
And I'm not a lawyer.
I know.
So, and it wasn't because I wasn't brilliant enough to study law and pass law and become a lawyer, but it was because an adult in my life made it a point of, what would I say? Kind of make sure that didn't happen for me.
Yeah.
Like, no. I'm not going to watch you become that. Like, you are not like, you can't be. In fact, I remember she once said to me, like, how can somebody from such a poor background like you have such big ambition? So to her, it was like, no, you don't dream that kind of dream. Yeah. Like, you're not qualified to dream that kind of dream.
Who told you that?
Well, my auntie, when I was young. So, anyways,
she always
I go
put
to that
you down.
Story. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I knew when I became an adult that is not something that I wanted any girl to hear.
Yes.
That is not something. So, like I said, part of what I do, if not all of what I do, is inspired by my own personal experiences. And I knew that I didn't want anybody not to become who they want to become because they didn't believe in themselves, or that because somebody else didn't believe in them.
Yes, yeah.
And if you have been to anywhere that I speak, you know that the topic that is most important to me that I talk about all the time is finding your innate power.
Yes.
Because if you find that power that you have, which the universe has given to you, nobody can stop you.
Yes. Yeah.
Somebody was able to take that away from me. But then when I look at myself, I think I'm even doing great, being in
so
this
let me tell you, is that aunt when she sees you, or she hears about you, what does she?
You know what I'm gonna say is it's unfortunate that this conversation we're having this conversation and she passed actually like she's not even buried yet.
Oh, okay.
And
sorry. What did she think when she saw you growing and becoming like very famous?
Well, some people do things and they don't realize like how what they've done have affected you.
Yeah.
She's still kind of, I would use was now because like I said, she's still in the mortuary, right?
Yeah.
Right now. And I would say that she was this kind of person who would look at me and go like, I raised her.
Okay.
And you'd be like, okay. That kind of person.
Yes,
so sometimes it's a case of, you see that you do not get it or it's just who you are. Like, so like I said, it's a story that I'm going to tell on a different, but yeah, something like that. Sometimes I go like, I'm one of the people that she's so proud of. Like proud of in the way that I raised her.
Yeah.
But
no, you put me down.
I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Never challenge that anyways. Honestly, don't have the intention to. But anyways, God rest her soul.
Yes.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I made that my own mission to empower women and girls. And I think what really pushed it further for me was in 2017 when 2015 up to 2017 when the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals came out, and seeing on that goals, that need to empower, one of the goals being the need to empower women and girls. It kind of solidified what I had already believed.
Yes. Yeah.
So I could really look at myself as as a young girl and then as a woman and see that, look, we really need to do this. It's really important because a lot of girls like me, and I'll tell you that so many girls who pass through the same household that they're not where I am today. And I'm really lucky that I could find that power and I didn't give in. And so many of them gave in. One of the things that, happened through that home is that by the time you're 16, you get married. Yeah. But I ran away. I didn't. Yeah. Because I was like, so I wanted to go to school. I wanted to become a lawyer. I had that dream, that ambition.
Yeah.
Right. So I couldn't give into that. But so many girls who passed through there got married. And, at 16, there's not so much, they had children and that's just not so much that they have in life. Yeah. So when I look at myself and look at how far I've come, I give all the glory to God that, I found that in me early on and I could really challenge that and believed so much in myself. So, that's
amazing.
So all the work that I do, they're all connected, so when you think about it, when I'm coaching somebody, counseling, mentoring, it's just all that desire to help somebody else get up.
So now in your career, when you inspire all the women, is there a story or a person that really stuck in your mind and you said, yes, like you're very proud of what you did and you really helped them and really touched your heart?
So, say that again. Are you I know somebody that I've worked with or like a role model?
Yeah, like you inspired, you got them from, they were down and you pulled them up and you really, a really story that stuck in your heart or in your mind.
I think there'll be so many, and so many not because I think about it that way, so many because that's what they say to me.
Yes.
So I hear a lot of, like, oh my God, Ify, thank you so much. I think so. A woman once said to me that, the only thing I regret, and I was like, what is that? And she said, not doing what you asked me to do on time. Like having to wait some time before I did. Yeah. I believed what you were telling me.
Yes.
Kind of. So, and those are the things that keep me going when I hear those kind of feedbacks. Yeah. Right. So there's so many.
I know.
So many that, I honestly, I don't even know. I feel
I know.
privileged to, have that opportunity to have been in their lives.
Yeah.
And I think that so many of them have really looked for a way to, like, how do I even put her out there because of what she's done? And I think that speaks to the so many awards that I have,
Yes.
won doing this work, right?
Yes.
And the most recent one, the Mentorship Award, the National Mentorship Award that I got in Toronto
Amazing.
last month,
Yeah.
is testament to the fact that there are people who really believe in the work that I do, and it's affected them positively.
Yeah.
And
I'm one of them too, by the way.
thank you so much. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. So there's so many stories that they really kind of they gladden my heart when I hear them, listen to them, and hear women say to me, or even a young girl recently, I haven't met her, but she reached out to me on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And I don't know how she came across my profile, and she's like, you know what? She wrote me a lengthy message on LinkedIn, and she said, I was reading through your profile.
Yes.
And oh my God, I just want to meet you. Like, I'm so inspired, like all that you've done.
Yes.
And I haven't even spoken to her at the time she wrote that message to me. And I read it and I had tears down my cheeks. And I'm like, oh my God, somebody could just read about me and feel this inspired. And I scheduled a meeting with her.
Yes.
And we had this virtual meeting, and she was like, I just wanted to meet you. Like, oh my goodness, like, and we talked, and I'm like, you know what, anytime, any day. So when you talk about inspiring people, sometimes we inspire much more than, we know.
Yes.
People see us, they watch us, they see us win, and they go like, if you can win, then I can win too. And that is why I tell women, we need to show up. Show up for yourself, but most importantly, show up so that others can see you and know that they too can show up as well.
Yes.
It is very important. So I think that what I've done mostly is show up.
Yeah.
Honestly. And I think that showing up has inspired a lot of people.
You show up and you shine. You shine everywhere you go. We miss you here in Halifax.
Oh my goodness. I miss you all too. I miss Halifax. Really.
Yeah.
But life is life. Sometimes we got to move on.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I know you have many projects started. What is the next step for you? Like, what is the next step for the Star Women's Network, for all your projects? What?
Sura, that's a tough question, and it's not tough because I don't know what to say. It's tough because what I'm thinking right now is not what I'm thinking next tomorrow. And I don't mean that in any bad way. I mean that like in every sense of it.
Yes.
So when you ask what is next for the Star Women's Network, so the Star Women's Network started here in Halifax, Nova Scotia, as a network for the empowerment of women. And it was, it was a Halifax organization. Fast forward to 4 or 5 years later, we moved to Ontario. We became the Star Women's Network. And before you know it, in 1 year, the second year, we had become an international organization.
Awesome.
So we were, and that has always been the dream, to continue to grow. And then we have boots on ground in Nigeria, in Africa. We launched the Star Empowerment Initiative Africa. And after that launch, I said to my team, you know what? I'm tired of being an international organization. We need to be a global organization.
Look at you. Awesome.
So, and we had made that happen because for the first time now we hosted a global summit, a 3-day global summit that really attracted attendees from all over the world. And I'm not mincing words when I say that.
Awesome.
That is the truth.
Great.
And we have done that because this is one of the events that we have done where we had to issue invitation letters to attendees to actually come into Canada. So we had this event really recognized by the immigration department of the federal government and all that. And And that is the dream. That's the ambition. So now that we have started this global movement, and I said in my opening remark when this event started, and this was just last week, right? That this is a movement.
Yes.
It's no longer an organization, just the Star Women's Network Incorporated. Yes, we do have a name, but we have started a global movement.
Yes.
So where we're going right now is to really have WEGA, which we call Women Empowerment and Gender Advocacy Summit, be an event that goes around the world. So even though it started in Canada, started in Ontario, we might have another one in Ontario, but the idea behind it is to take this movement around the world.
Yes.
So, and we've started making the connections. This event last week had over 25 speakers from all over the world. And that is because we put a stop to recruiting speakers from around the world. In fact, as I speak to you, we have a lineup of speakers for 2025.
Awesome.
They reached out to us and said, we want to be a part of WEGA.
I want to know the date.
And we're like, okay, we're full. We can take you on 2024. And they're like, we have people who in their emails have said, please, I want to sign up for 2025.
Awesome.
And they're not even Canadians. They are from outside of Canada.
So perfect.
The idea is to really take this around the world.
Yes.
And I hope that we are able to do that. And I hope for my own interest that I don't get bored doing something else and getting into something
you
else.
will do it. You will do it. I know that. And if you move around the world, you won't get bored, believe me.
Yeah. So I think that's the next thing for us, is that we want to make WEGA a global movement.
Yes.
So we're on that. But what I cannot promise you is that will be the only thing that I'm doing.
I know you'll be doing many things. I know you. I know you very well. So not only that, that's a small part of what you do.
Who knows? I can make promises on doing just that. So I'll try. But anyways, we'll see how it goes.
Ifeoma, you are amazing. I don't
Thank
know what
you.
to say. Now, I'm going to ask you a couple of, I'm going to say some words, and I want you to tell me what they mean to you. Okay? The first word is women empowerment.
Women empowerment for me, and I've said this over and over again, doesn't mean giving women power. What it means to me is that women need to realize, begin to know that nature, the universe, that God has put in them everything. And I mean, every woman, every girl out there is endowed innately with power. Systems and the world try to change that.
That's right.
But I think when we now speak women empowerment, what we're doing is not saying, oh, there is power, we need to get power and give to women. That's not women empowerment. No. Women empowerment is helping women realize the audacity they already have in them and just let that shine through.
Awesome.
That's women empowerment for me.
That's nice. Public speaking.
Public speaking is, for me, is the way that I show myself to the world.
Yeah.
Every time I'm on stage, and I've been on really big stages, small stages, but what I do is let that light, which I carry, shine through to people.
Family.
Family is, oh my God, family is everything to me. Family is everything. And family, for me, is not just by blood. Wherever I go, I build community. It's family.
That's right.
But my family, my children, my immediate family is everything. So the only way to say family, I'll say everything.
Yeah, nice. Leadership.
Oh, leadership is great. And for somebody in leadership, I think leadership is the way we show the world how to become. As a leader, it's just examples.
Yes.
Lead by example, so somebody else can pay it forward.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Africa.
Africa is home and will always be home. But then Africa is a lot of emotions for me.
Yeah.
And I think Africa is great.
Yeah.
There's great talent. There's great skill. There are great untapped potentials in Africa.
Yeah.
And I think that we as the world whether the Western world or whatever,
Yeah.
first world or whatever world we call ourselves, should really beam the touch on Africa. There are potentials.
Oh, very much.
Untapped.
That's right.
So much untapped potential.
That's right.
Africa is great.
Yeah. Canada.
Canada is welcoming. Canada is home
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And Canada has been love and growth and settlement and everything. But I think Canada can be more.
Yes.
And I am really open to exploring that more,
Yeah.
to see what that more means.
Awesome. Black immigrant women.
That's very sensitive for
Yes.
me
Yeah.
because I wish that I didn't have to label Black immigrants. Those are, I feel that they're systemic labels.
Yeah.
I didn't think that we needed to put those labels on anybody,
Exactly.
white, Caucasian, Black, you know, we just have to be
Hijabi,
human
Muslim,
beings.
yes, yeah.
All those things. And I tell people, I say labels are for differentiation. Because when you walk into the stores, like, why do we label things? We label products and all that so that we can identify them as separate from others.
Yeah.
We shouldn't label humans, because then when we do that, what are we doing? We're creating division. We're not uniting
Exactly.
ourselves with the label. So when you say Black immigrant, I'm like, oh my God, division
Yes.
is the first thing that comes into mind.
That's right.
Because then, and I said this with the Star Women's Network as well. When we started and we're a network for the empowerment of women, and even at the Star Women's Network now, people do ask me, is it for immigrant women? And I was kind of like, oh,
It's for all women.
did you hear any label there?
Yeah.
Why do you have to? And some people will message me and ask, can I be a part of? And then the question I ask is, are you a woman? Because it's an organization for women.
Exactly.
Are you a woman?
Yeah.
Okay, then you can be a part of it. Are you a man? You can be our ally.
Exactly.
Because those are just the two I see. Because the Bible, I'm Christian, and the Bible tells me that God made them man and woman.
That's right.
Those are just the two that I recognize, man and woman. If you're white, well, I don't see. Sura, what color are you? I don't see color. I see Sura Hadad. I see a fellow woman. I see a beautiful handmaid of God. I don't see colors. Oh, what?
Yes,
Muslim?
yeah.
Oh my God, that's just a religion we're born into. Doesn't define you.
Underneath all this, we have the same color blood,
Thank you.
same color, bones. Everything is the same.
Absolutely. So can't talk to me about being Black or being white when you tell me your blood is white.
That's right.
Or it's a different color. As long as we all shed red blood,
That's
I
right.
don't see no difference.
Yeah.
And that's me. That's my philosophy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Immigration.
Immigration, I think it's connections for all of us.
Yeah.
The world is a global village. Now we all move around. And that speaks to, the world maybe opening up more.
Yes.
For us. I'm from Nigeria originally, born and raised in Nigeria. Here I am in Canada, a Canadian right now. And I relate to the land, to Canada. There are people who were here before even Canada existed.
That's
and
right.
they've allowed us to live on their lands and all that. And I think that's what we should do. Wherever we go, we build a home. We become welcoming. Canada has been welcoming. Immigration is a way we go, we move around and we welcome and be welcomed.
Yes.
As well. So, immigration for me, I would say one word, welcome.
Ifeoma.
You know what Ifeoma means? The word Ifeoma
Yeah.
has a meaning.
Yeah.
And it's something really unique. I don't know about other cultures, but in my culture and in my country, every name has a meaning.
Yes.
So we don't just give people brown because,
Yes.
or, green or whatever,
Yeah.
but every name has a meaning. And Ifeoma means good thing. So just Ifeoma, just simple good thing.
Yes.
So when you look at something and you go, oh, this is a good thing.
Yes.
So it's like my mother had me and looked at me and go like, wow, that's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
So that's what it means. So when you say the word Ifeoma and you ask me what it means to me,
Yeah.
I'm simply a good thing.
Yeah, well, you are, my dear. You're the best thing. You're the best thing. My dear, thank you so much. And I'm going to get up and shake your hand, and then we'll thank you. You've been an inspiration. I don't know what
You're welcome. It's been awesome talking to you.